Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Sarah. And today I am doing a little experience story, I guess. Piercing my ears myself. Now, before we go any further, disclaimer, do not do this at home. I was bored and I was like, I want some more piercings, and so I made the decision on my own. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not suggesting this to anyone. I just wanted to document my experience and tell you what I did and how I'm helping myself heal, both physically and mentally. Now that that's all aside, my disclaimer is don't do it. So let's just get into it. I have always had the first holes, my regular ear piercing holes, done since I was probably like 11 or 12. But I've had those done for years. I actually had to get this hole re-pierced higher up because when I first went, we went to Claire's. The girl that first did my ear did it too low, so I don't know if you can see, but there's a little like mark down here. But for the first year, I had my ear piercing too low. I got my second hole, or my first hole, re-pierced. So it was a whole new hole though, like a year after, so I was like 12. So that was like years ago. Fast forward to, we're talking January 1st, I decided that I was gonna pierce my ears. Now I bought an ear piercing gun on Amazon. Second disclaimer, don't do that either. It's like 12 bucks, came with like all the whole shebang. This is it right here. Hello. She pulls back, you put the stud in there, and then you just kind of squeeze it and it shoots. It's not very accurate though. It's got these weird little like things in the front, and you can turn them and you can like pinch it between your ear and stuff. So I did that, and when I initially did my piercings, I did 3 extra ones on this side. I did one a little bit higher. I don't know if you can see the hole. I did one right here as well, and then I did these 2 on this side. And so those were the first ones that I did. That was 2 weeks ago now. Do not do that. Also, another mistake that I made was, first of all, yeah, the ear piercing gun, but second of all, it comes with these little metal studs. So you can see them right there. Hopefully it's focusing on that. But it comes with about 50 of those, and I'm not sure what size they are, but I do think that they're probably closer to a 16 gauge, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah, they're fat. And so I had those in my ears. I'll insert some clips right here. Those in my ears for about 3 days. No, not even 3 days, like 2 days at the most. And it was hurting like really bad, but it wasn't infected, it wasn't bleeding or anything. And so I was just like, well, this sucks. Also, side note I didn't add, when I first did the ear piercings, I pierced too low on this side first, and I pulled that sucker out because I was like, heck to the no. And there was blood everywhere for like the first 30 minutes, and so that was how my home piercing experience started. Everything was sterilized though. I had alcohol in hands, everything was sterilized, and no need to worry about that. Yeah. Since the gun was so inaccurate, it actually pierced myself in the wrong place, and it was too low, and so I was just like, I had to take it out, and it was a whole mess. A whole mess. After I took that out and pierced it where I wanted it, I did have, like I said, a third piercing on this side. That when I took out the fat piercings, I just didn't put it back in because I didn't really like the placement after a while, and I was all like, you know, hopped up on adrenaline when I was first using the gun. So I took those out and I replaced it with little studs. And so that's the back of it. Let me take the back off so you can maybe see better. And there's the front of it. They're very, very tiny. It's what I have in my ears now. And so I literally took out those other fat studs and cleaned it all, disinfected it all. It bled a little bit, not too much though, and then shoved these in there and clamped those in, and I was like, okay. And then it didn't hurt because I think that they were just so fat that it was just putting pressure right at the piercing. I don't even know how to explain it, but they were so fat that it hurt. And so since I had already pierced my ear with that bigger gauge, and these are only, I believe, these are 20 gauge little studs, and so I had that extra room to where my ear, the hole didn't have like pressure on it, so that was fine. So a week and a half goes by. I only have these front 2 extra ones done. I have this whole little hole close up. It's almost totally invisible now, which is nice. And then I was like, you know what? I want to do more because it's addictive. And so I decided to not use the gun on my cartilage because of my first horrible experience where I missed the hole, I made it in the wrong spot, and I was just like, no, these ones, I know where I want them, and if I mess up, I'm gonna be mad. And so then I proceeded to order some needles, and I will link the needles down below because I feel like those are a lot safer than the gun. I'm also recommending that you go to a professional. I don't recommend you do what I do, but I'm gonna link these below. But I purchased these 18 gauge body piercing needle singles. They all come in these little packets, and they're all very, very sharp. I don't know if you can see one of them that's kind of a little bit out of its little tip holder, but they're very, very sharp. And the reason I picked 18 gauge was because I knew that these 20 gauge ones would fit right at the end of the needle, and I'd be able to pull the needle through all the way through and poke this on the other side and pull the needle out, and it would be in there. So that's what I did. And the other night, my Instagram stories, I was doing updates while I was piercing, and I shoved it through. I think I started on this side. Yeah, I did this one first. It still hurts a little bit, just around the ear. And I sat there for about 30 minutes, holding the back of my ear, holding the needle. And I put it halfway through, and those needles are so slanted, I guess. There's no better descriptive word that I can think of currently. That I got about halfway into my ear. I could feel the needle was poking out the other side of my ear. I could feel it, and I was just like, and so I just kind of sat there with the needle halfway through my ear. I just was like, and then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna, so I grabbed it and I just, very aggressively. But like once it was through, it didn't hurt. The part that I think hurt the most was after I pulled the needle through, I had the stud in, was getting the backing onto the stud. That part hurt the most. And as far as now, like this one, unless I hit it, like pulling my hair behind my ear or something, it doesn't hurt. Hoping that you can see it. And I did it kind of high and really, really close to the edge because of the way my ears are shaped. I originally considered getting an industrial, but I was looking at the way my ears are shaped, and I would have to get an industrial like really, really high and very forward. And I didn't really want that. I've always wanted a really slanted one, but my ears are really, really flat and open, and they like fold back against the back of my head, and so I kind of wanted a little one right here just to accent that cute little curve in the ear. That sounds so weird to say. And then on this side, my ear's shaped a little bit differently again, but I wanted it still kind of like open and flat, and so I wanted one right up here, right where that curve starts, and then one right here like in this like little valley of your ear. But yeah, this one is the thickest part that I pierced by myself, and it took the longest, but it was the least painful as far as like pressing through it. Pain wise for the gun on my lobes, it was just on my earlobes, and so there's not any cartilage down here, or at the very least not as much. And so it didn't hurt, and it was really just like initial sting. Besides that, that didn't hurt. Pain really came from, I think, the size of the gauge of the needles that are in it, and that's what was causing me pain and discomfort. But for this one, it hurt when I first pierced through it, but then like once I got it through, and once I got the stud in, and once I got the back on, like none of that really hurt. It was more, this part kind of like went numb, this like middle part. This guy up here, this is who still really, really hurts. Like this whole ear around it hurts. This one I always try not to touch it because I'm constantly pulling my hair back behind my ear or something. But this one, I was sharing on my Instagram story, had a little bit of crusty around it, a little bit of crusting happening, and so I tried to move it while I was disinfecting it, and it pulled it's kind of gross, the crust that was attached to my sore, open, wound, piercing hole. It moved with the stud when I pushed the stud back just to get the disinfectant in there. It hurts so bad. That's so painful, and that's why it still hurts now. I think just because I irritated it and I moved it and it was mad. But yeah, I really, really like them. It's not something that I would recommend that you ever do by yourself, but I'm really, really happy with them. It's something that I'm glad that I did, and they're really, really cute. So I'll have down the studs and the needles linked down below. I got all mine on Amazon, and I also use the H2 Ocean Purified Salt Water. It's a like a piercing after spray. It helps to like soothe the skin around it. I think it was like $8, but it is aerosol, which is a little bit weird, and so I just kind of like, let me see if I can show you. Oh, she's stripping. I just kind of spray it on there and just like let it sit for a second. And sometimes I will put it on a Q-tip, and then that's when I moved the crusties and it got mad at me. That's when I hurt myself. I'll just do that, and I've had no infections as of yet. No infections, praise the Lord. My fingers are so dirty because I was doing my makeup. I'm so sorry. Something I would not recommend, but something that I did, so I thought I'd share my experience. They still hurt. Word of advice, don't do 2 different sides for your Helix at the same time, because now I'm just laying with my head back on my pillow and it's so uncomfortable, and I can't. I love to lay on my side, but now I don't have either side I can lay on, so I really should have just done one side. So that's my word of advice for today. But thank you so much for watching. Some LaCroix. The tangerine one actually tastes like tangerines. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video slightly informative and helpful in some way. Do not forget to like and subscribe down below, and leave a comment if you think I need to reevaluate my life choices, because I'm with you there. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time with me.